All right. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited. Jackie and I Jackie and I would like to introduce Shari one more time, and I'm sure you guys have heard her multiple times. She has phenomenal training, and we have lots of recordings from her trainings in the past. Oh, and I'm going to mute everybody here in a sec. Actually, I may as well do it now. Okay, there we go. So we're really excited about this training today because we get questions all the time of, I don't know how to offer the business. What do I say? Or I said this and everyone seems to say no. So I think people are really excited to hear what you have to say. Obviously, Shari's had a very successful direct sales business, so she knows what she's talking about, and we can't wait to hear all the advice we can get.
Thank you. Love working with you guys. Let me go ahead and share my screen so I can pull up slides for you guys so you can follow along there. Hang on, it's working to open up. And somehow I started at the end, so let's go all the way to the beginning, shall we? Okay, there we go. Well, this is a really fun topic. I love giving people the words to say. I know that's very often one of the things that holds us back, and one of the things we're always looking for is the right words to say for what we want. And verbiage it's so important in us getting what we want, whether it's bookings or attendance, hostess participation, anything that we want from the business. Our verbiage, our language is really important. So we're going to give you some really specific words to say tonight about what we say when we're approaching somebody about the business, what we say when we're following up, and what we do to overcome some of those objections, or maybe a better word is concerns that they have that hold them back from that yes. So let's start with approach. Of course, that's the first place. Talk about asking. Ask 3 people at every party. I'm going to give you the words, of course, but make sure that you're asking 3 people at every nail bar. I'm not the coach or the speaker or trainer that will say you have to talk to every single person at every nail bar. I think that gets really overwhelming, and not everybody is somebody that we want on our team in the first place. Most of them are, but not everybody. So just 3 people is a really good number, and that is the number that will get you the right number of recruits that I always talk about, which is 2 a month. If we're holding 8 nail bars a month, which is the number for rapid growth, and we talk to 3 people, that means that we're asking individually 24 people every month. And 1 out of 10 will say yes. Better we get, we can improve that number to even better than 1 out of 10. And maybe some of you have already improved that number. But a really solid number is 2 recruits a month for really rapid growth. When I'm talking to coaching clients about recruiting, if they're struggling with recruiting, or they feel like they're not good at recruiting, or somehow they've all of a sudden stopped recruiting, the 2 questions I always ask is, can you tell me about your party count? Let's go to the last 6 months and see what your party count has been consistently over the last 6 months. And that's the number 1 reason that we're not recruiting, is our party count isn't there. A lot of times we're good at approach and overcoming objections and so on, but we're just not holding enough nail bars to get those 2 recruits every month. A really good recruiting number is 1 out of every 4 nail bars. So if we're going to get 2 a month, that means that we need to hold 8. So that's often one of the things that's stopping us. But the second most common is that we're not asking the individuals. We feel like, gosh, I have shared my why story, I played the question and answer game, or I've just told them what I love about Color Street, and if they're interested, they'll come to me. And that is a myth. That just rarely happens. Not that it never happens, but almost never. In one instance, they feel like, it's almost like I'm saying, I think I would be good at that. I think I'd be good at Color Street. And that feels a little bit awkward. Or they're thinking it looks like a wonderful opportunity. I could really use that income. It looks fun, but they question themselves. But I don't think I'd be good at that. I'm not good at talking in front of people. I don't have enough money for the kit. I wouldn't know how to do a nail bar. So they question themselves and are afraid to let you know that they're interested and even give you an opportunity to overcome those concerns. So if we're asking 3 people at every nail bar with really good language, which I'll give to you, then we're going to get 2 recruits a month as long as our party count is good. The other thing is start at the top. And so I'll give you just the scenario that I'm talking about here. If we are taking the order and we get the order, then the next logical step is the upsell. Well, what about gifts or any upcoming events that you might need extra sets for? We upsell. And then they might give us an additional order. Oh yeah, I've got a dinner date or a dinner occasion I'm going to. I'd love to take my hostess a set, or my sister-in-law has a birthday coming up. So we get the upsell. And then we go to the next phase. Well, what about hosting a nail bar of your own and getting some more free product? Well, yeah, maybe I could do that. Well, then we go to the next step. Well, what about becoming a stylist, making some extra income? That can feel a little bit like push, 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 can't it? Well, I got this, now let's ask for more. Well, I got this, let's ask for more. But if we start at the top, and with those 3 people that we think, gosh, she'd be really good, or I'd love to have her on my team, whatever the reason, but we choose those 3 people, and the first thing that we do is talk about the business. Let's talk about you being a stylist. I think you'd be amazing because, and again, I'll give you the right language there, but we start there and we get a definite no, we're not able to overcome the objections or concerns, and so we take a step down. All right, well, what about just hosting your own nail bar and getting some free product? That feels like a let go, doesn't it? Kind of like I'm letting you off the hook. Let's just have a nail bar. Let go. A step down. And if they say no to that, then we talk about the gifts or upcoming events for them that they might need more sets for. It feels like let go, let go, let go. And so they're more likely to say, I'm not going to sell, but I can book, or I'm not going to book, but I'll buy some more nail strips. So that's a better approach, is starting at the top with the recruit offer. If we get a no, then we go to the booking, and then we go to the upsell. So if we do that, we're going to get more sales, we're going to get more bookings, and we're going to get more recruits by just following that format. Who's our number 1 prospect to recruit? Who's the one person that we should ask every single time? The hostess. That's your easiest yes. We know she has a network of people that will support her to start with because she's got a nail bar. She's got her friends and family and coworkers and neighbors there. So we know she has a network. We know she loves the product because she's hosting a nail bar to get more free. So she's your number 1 prospect, the easiest yes. So let's talk about her. And I say it every time because they don't always say yes the first time. How many of you have asked your hostess more than once to get that yes? Anybody? Just raise your hand. They don't always say yes the first time. In fact, my favorite story is Shonda Mulcahy. Some of you may know her. She is a senior executive director at Color Street. But when I recruited her into Party Light, it took 5 times. I asked her at hers, no. I asked her at her first booking, no. I asked her at her second booking, no. I asked her at her third booking, no. And I asked her in the 4th party, she was talking to that hostess and saying, you should do this, you'd be really good. And I said, well, why not you, Shonda? And she said, you're right, okay, I'm in. But I had to ask her 5 times, and then she went on to be my first senior executive director at that particular company. So we can ask more than once if we get a no. At the initial coaching, when we're going through her hostess packet with her, if you're not using hostess packets, we can talk about that at another time, or maybe in the Q&A. But when you go through that hostess packet, make sure that you've got something on the business opportunity in there, so that when you are going through that with her, you can pull that out, and we just say something simple. Remember, this is not where we're trying to close the deal. We're just starting to plant seeds with that hostess. We pull out that recruiting information and we just say something like, I put some information on the business in your packet because so many of my hostesses decide to do this for a little extra money or something fun to do, so you can just look over this at your convenience. We're just planting seeds. And then at the second coaching contact, we can just ask her if she had a chance to look over that information about the business. If she hasn't, then we can just bring it up. It's just something that a lot of my hostesses choose to do, because you can make about $75 at a nail bar in a couple of hours. So if you do a couple of weeks, that's $150 a week, which turns into $600. So it's just not that much work for a lot of extra income each month. So just, think about it. Or we can say, what do you think? And that might start a conversation right there. And then when we get into, if it's a Facebook party before that nail bar, you could just say, watch what I do at your nail bar and see how easy it is. Might be something really fun for you to think about. So we can bring it up again there. If it's a face-to-face party, when we arrive to set up, we can do it there. Watch what I do and see how easy it is. Then make sure that what you do is so easy. We want our hostesses and our guests to watch us do our nail bars and say, I could do that. And we talked about that when we did our recruiting training. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, I know that Jackie and Debbie have a library of Shari trainings that you guys can go back and refer to. So I lost my train of thought. So you can go back and listen to that, but make sure that the party presentation and the whole process that hostess is watching, if you're doing a Facebook party, does everything look easy? If you're doing a Zoom party, does it look easy? And a really good way to do that is to have party cards or cheat sheets that they see you looking at this, see you having a format that you're following. We just want it to look super easy. So we're going to say, watch what I do and see how easy it is. Make sure that what you do is easy. So they watch you and say, you're right, that's so easy. She's just reading cards, or she's just following not a clipboard, but a clipboard list. And then after the nail bar, a really great way to flip your hostess is to say, if this was your nail bar, you would have earned whatever that number is, $75, $100. That feels different than, do you know I made $100 on your nail bar? You could be earning that. It just doesn't feel as warm and fuzzy. Do you know that if this was your nail bar, you would have earned? Gets her thinking about what she would do with that income. So that's a good way to offer, to just open that dialogue up after the nail bar. Then that takes us to this step. Imagine that you just had a nail bar that was $600 and you got 4 nail bars booked from that. Would you offer that business to the hostess and let her have those future bookings? Or would you want to keep those? Oh my gosh, that's 4 nail bars I just added to my calendar. I can't offer it to her. I could talk to her guests, but I don't want to offer it to her and lose those bookings. That's what I would call a scarcity mentality. There's not enough business to go around. But when we have a lacking calendar, when our party count isn't there, when our calendar is as full as we want it, it can be really tempting to just keep those bookings to ourselves and not share it with our hostess. So a big part of being a consistent recruiter is making sure that your party count stays in line, that you've got the number of parties on your calendar every month that you want to hold, that you're not worried about those bookings and keeping them for yourself. All right, so let's go to the next slide. The next part. When you have a full calendar, then we're able to have that abundance mentality. That makes it so much easier for us to share the business with our number 1 prospect. And I've got a little example here of what that looked like for me on one of my better occasions. So I had a hostess that had a $1,800 party, and I was, in your language, a new team leader at that particular company. I had been in many companies before, but this was a start over, new company, starting over with just doing those parties each night. Our party average meant that I got $100. Our average party was $100 in commission. So I'm making $100 a night, and I had gone from a corporate position making in Party Pen with another direct sales company, but I was corporate, so making a really great income. And I just decided that this was where the money was at, and I wanted to go back to that. I wanted to go back to being my own boss and building my own organization instead of just being a corporate executive with a boss. So I stepped down from that great income to make $100 a night. I was a team leader, so my income certainly wasn't replacing what I was making, and money was an issue for me. this hostess had an $1,800 party with 6 bookings. Well, that was huge for me. That means that I would have made $576 on that party. And at this company, if we recruited that hostess before we closed the party, they got to keep the sales. They got to keep the sales. And that got them a free kit. It was just our program. The company would give them a free kit in return for commission. So if they had a $350 party, the kit was free. If it was a $500 party, the kit was free, and they got another $150 in free product of their choice. So she would get a $576 kit if she decided to sign up, but I would lose those $576 in commissions and all of the income that I would have earned from those 6 bookings and the bookings from those. And that was a lot of money to let go of. But I knew, just from my experience in direct sales, that the parties and the commissions, that's not where the big money is at. It's in recruiting and building leaders who build their teams. That's where the big money is at in our business. So it was a bigger vision than just looking at what I was going to earn that night and from those parties. And I tracked. She did sign up. So she got her $576 kit. I didn't get any commissions. And I tracked the sales because, just like you, I could see each of those parties in the back office, and I could see what their volumes were. And had they been my parties, I would have earned another $672 in commissions from those parties. That $1,800 party, by the way, our party average was $350. So that was the equivalent of about 5 parties all by itself. So I tracked those parties from her first 6. And what I basically gave up was $1,248 in overrides, or you would call them bonuses, and commissions. But here's a bigger picture. She did become a leader for me. And you know, we don't know which recruit is going to be our next leader. We just don't know. And so we got to offer it to people and give up those commissions and those bookings if it is the hostess for a bigger picture. She became a leader of mine, and I earned over $5,000 a year just in team bonuses on her team for years to come until I left that particular company. So you see the bigger picture there, a one-time hit of $1,248 or $5,000 a year in bonuses on her team. This is Susie, and the even bigger picture than that is the paycheck of the heart. When we recruit someone, that's where the paycheck of the heart is helping them to get started, have success, have fun, make money. We get to be a part of that. This is a picture of Susie and I. Susie's on the left, and that's us boarding the cruise ship for her very first incentive trip. And then we went on to go on several incentive trips together after that for years to come. But can you see her face and how excited she is getting on that cruise ship? It was just so much fun. She became one of my very best friends, and just paycheck of the heart. That's what it's all about. With our guests, we want to watch for hot buttons. Now, this is not as easy with Facebook parties as it is with Zoom parties or face-to-face parties, because we don't have an opportunity to see their expressions, like their eyes lighting up when we're talking about our why story and the income opportunity or incentive trips. We don't get a chance to see those expressions. And we also don't have an opportunity on Facebook parties as easily to pick up on comments when they're talking to their friends. Now, Zoom parties, it's a little easier because they can have conversations before we actually start the presentation, just like they do at a in-home nail bar. But as best we can, if it's just comments in the comment section with our Facebook parties or Zoom parties where we can see their face and hear conversations, we want to do our best to pick up on why Color Street would be a good fit for them, why Color Street might help them. When we hear them talking to a friend of theirs about their husband getting laid off, or hours being cut, or losing their job, which are topics of conversation pretty frequently these days with the economy the way it is, or we talk about the incentive trip, and we've been here and we've been there and there, and they say, gosh, I haven't had a vacation in 5 years. These are hot buttons. These are things that tell us why Color Street would be fun for them, exciting for them. So we want to do our best to be listening, paying attention to what Color Street could do for them. Maybe they just come into that Zoom party and say, oh my God, did I need this? I got my glass of wine. What does that tell us? They are ready for a night off. They were looking forward to this girl time. Well, I can do that a couple times a week as a stylist, right? So listen for hot buttons. That's going to be what I'm going to talk about later when I say the why they should join Color Street. That's where we're discovering this. Then takes us to the next step. Our perfect offer is the why you should, why you could offer. And the information about this training that Debbie posted for you guys, it just kind of covered what we're going to be talking about. One of the things that was in there was sometimes that language stops us from recruiting when we offer the business opportunity. When we say, have you ever thought about doing something like this? Well, most of the world has not. So that's an easy nope. So that isn't the most effective language. I'm going to give you some really good language here in a second. And at the time of contact, when you're actually going to offer this business opportunity to an individual, you might just go blank and not remember anything I said tonight. That's okay. Then just say, have you ever thought about doing something like this? Because if that's all you say to 10 people, chances are you're going to get a yes. But when we get better at the way we offer it with more effective language, we're going to get more and more recruits. So the why you could is what would make them good? What would make them good at Color Street? The why you should is how Color Street will fill a need for them, whether that's getting out of the house a little bit or just having some girl time. They're social and they just love the idea of making new friends. Maybe have a credit card debt. They want to buy a new car, so it's a financial need. They want to go on a vacation, so the incentive trips are very appealing. That's the why they should. What Color Street can do for them. The why you could is what would make you a great stylist, and that's a confidence builder. And it's also a compliment. When we see that somebody is the helper, and of course I'm talking about a face-to-face party, and they get there early and they're helping the hostess get ready. They are helping people find things in the catalog. They are helping people write up their orders, and then they want to help us pack up our kit. That person is the helper. They like to help people. Okay, that's why they would be good. Or there's the fun person that just makes everything more fun. There's the sweetheart that just has something nice to say to everyone and people feel good around them. They're funny. You know, there's all kinds of things that make people a quality that would make them a good stylist. Everybody has something. If we're paying attention, we'll pick up on that. But it's not something that we do naturally, so we have to practice that, just noticing good things in people. So let's just pick a couple of examples here. Let's say that we picked up on a high credit card debt. They're totally stressed out about their credit card debt. That's the why they should. What would make them good is they are that sweetheart. Okay, so let's just role play an offer here. I might say, Jackie, I have been watching you tonight, and oh my gosh, you are such a sweetie. Everybody loves you. You have something nice to say to everyone. You just notice good things in other people, and that makes people feel so good when you tell them how special they are. You would be a natural at this. What do you think about trying it for a few weeks and see how you like it? Might be a great way for you to pay off that credit card debt that's just stressing you out. So that's just one example. Okay, let's say they are super fun and they just found out that their husband got his hours cut in half, and so there's a financial need there. All right, so for that person, I might say, Debbie, you are so much fun. You just made this party so fun. People love to be around you. You're just light and happy. You would be a natural at this. People would be drawn to you. And it could be a really great way for you to make up some of that income, that your husband lost. What do you think about trying it for a few weeks and see how you like it? I want you to also notice that last sentence every time. What do you think about trying this for a few weeks and see if you like it? That might scare some of you because you're thinking, what if they try it for a few weeks and they don't like it? They're going to do that anyway. They're going to try Color Street, and if they have success, if they're booking parties, if they're making money, they're going to stay. Nobody walks away from Color Street when they have parties on their calendar. They walk away when their calendar is empty. Then they get discouraged. So they're going to try it for a few weeks. If they're having success, they're going to keep going. If they're not, they're going to quit. So that's going to happen anyway. But what we just did was say, this is not a tough decision. It's easy because they, in their mind, feel like this is a career change. It's a big decision. I've got to talk to my husband. I've got to talk to my best friend. I've got to talk to my dad. I've got to talk to my attorney. It's a big decision in their mind. And it's not. It's not a big decision. They can try it. And if I like it, they can keep going. If they don't, they can quit. So we just kind of take that mentality and put that into our offer. It makes it so much easier for them to say yes and give Color Street a try instead of thinking about it for 6 months and then thinking about it some more. It makes it a much easier decision. But you're starting to see how you take that quality, tell them why they would be good. It's a confidence builder. It makes them think about it. Really? You think I would be good at this? Oh, I know you would. So it's a confidence builder. But in my mind, what made that such a great offer for me is that it wasn't as scary to offer the business, because I know sometimes we feel a bit nervous about that. What if they say no? Just made it more comfortable. I felt like even if they said no, I had a new best friend. They loved me because I saw something good in them. And not only did I see it, but I took time to tell them that I noticed that about them. So even if they said no, they really appreciated that I noticed this quality in them, and they will with you too. If it's a genuine compliment, it makes people feel good. Whether they say yes or not, it just makes them feel really good. And they like you. They're not going to book with anybody else. They do decide to join, they're going to join with you. They're going to be a loyal customer at worst, but at best, they're going to be way more likely to say yes to you when we use this kind of language. Tell them why they should join and tell them why they would be good. Do you see how that's better than, have you ever thought about doing something like this? And again, if you panic, that's better than not offering the business at all. We won't get any recruits if we don't offer the business. So the perfect language isn't as important as just talking to people. The more comfortable we get using better language, the more yeses we're going to get. All right. So as I said, noticing good qualities in people is not something that we do unconsciously, most of us. So we want to practice noticing that good quality. When you're out and about, just look for things to compliment people on. Oh my gosh, you're the fastest bagger I've ever seen when you're in the checkout line. I always choose to go in your line if you're working because you're always smiling and so happy and you just make me feel good. And how many times a day do you think they hear anything like that? So you watch them just light up and smile. Or you're at a retail store and that person gave you great service. They found you and asked you if they could help you find anything. And then they did help you find things and they brought things to the dressing room. So thank you for giving me such great service today. When I call Amazon about something, and there's a company that has amazing customer service, and I always say, thank you so much, you were so helpful. Or friends and family, when you're talking to them, just take a moment to compliment them about something special about them. Just get in that habit of noticing good qualities in other people and offering that compliment. We want this to be second nature to us. And for most of us, it isn't. It's something that we really have to practice. Picking up on, noticing and picking up on how Color Street could help someone is something that doesn't come natural to us. It's something that we have to practice listening for, paying attention to, facial expressions, just hints as to why Color Street would be a good fit for them. So these are things that we just really have to practice getting good at. And if you don't notice something good or something that's a why, how Color Street would fill a need in them, that doesn't mean that we can't offer the business opportunity. These are just things that help us to be better and better at approach, follow-up, and overcoming objections. So maybe you didn't notice anything. Just pick 3 people and offer the business opportunity to them. We do that 10 times and somebody is going to say yes. All right, so now let's talk about follow-up. We have our best shot at getting a yes in the first 24 hours of interest. When you offer that business opportunity to someone and they say, I'm interested, but I need to look at my schedule. I need to think about whether I have enough time. I need to run this by my husband. Whatever reason we don't get that immediate yes, we have our best chance of getting a yes in that first 24 hours. After that, that chance of getting a yes starts to diminish and diminish and diminish the longer it takes to get that yes. That's why we see people still thinking about it 6 months from now. So 24 hours, they're still excited. They're thinking about this. It's on their mind and they're talking about it. And the more people they talk to about the business, the more likely they are to get comments like, do you really think you have enough time? You're so busy. You're so shy. Do you really think you could do this? Do you know enough people? People will say things like that to them that start to get them questioning whether or not this would be a good decision for them. And self-doubt starts to creep in. Would I really be good at this? Do I have the right clothes? Could I really stand up and talk in front of people? Should I be spending money on a kit? That self-doubt starts to creep in. So let's get them while that enthusiasm is high. I can remember talking to a longtime coaching client, and she said, I have 5 people that are interested in the business, and I have not followed up with them. My time management is just, in the toilet right now. And I said, 5 people? Are you kidding me? It's hang up from me and go reach out to those people right now. But she was way past that 24-hour mark. So I don't know how many of them that she closed, but she was just waiting way too long because she wasn't being organized about it. So let me encourage you to block out 30 minutes in your schedule. If you're working full-time, after work, but just block out 30 minutes in your schedule the day after every nail bar. And just put in your schedule, follow up on recruits so that you don't forget. Now, you may not have anybody that you need to talk to after every nail bar. Maybe all 3 of them said no. Then that 30 minutes is, we're not going to use it. But that way, it's there. It reminds you to follow up quickly in that 24-hour time frame. When we follow up, we can overwhelm them with information and trying to get them excited. And I should back up a little bit because we can also do this in the approach. When we offer the business opportunity to someone, especially if we're new, it happens more when we're new than when we're more experienced, but it can still happen. But we get that yes when we offer the business. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it. We can go a little crazy and just throw up information on them. Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. I would love to have you on my team. And you know what? We have the best leaders in the whole company. We've got, these people that do trainings for us and they're awesome. And then there's national conference. And I would love to go to national conference with you. Wouldn't that be super fun? We could room together. We'd have girls weekend. And they also have incentive trips. You could go on these incentive trips together. It would just be so much fun. And we could talk after every party and we could just share ideas with each other. And oh my gosh, this would just be so fun. We have just thrown up information on her. And so what sounded like a good idea a minute ago now becomes like, wow, this is a lot. This is really overwhelming. So when we offer the business opportunity and they say, yeah, I'm thinking about it, find out their hot button right there. Sorry I missed this previously, but find out their hot button right there by just saying, wonderful, what is it about Color Street that interests you? Well, we just are pretty tight with money right now, and it just would be nice to have a little extra income. Okay, now I know her hot button. Well, it's just so nice to see faces and on this Zoom party and have some conversation with my girlfriends. I just really didn't realize how much I needed this. I think it'd be fun to get to do this with other people too. But they'll tell you why they're interested. Now we know what their hot button is. And then we just say, well, here's some information for you to look over. Give her a little recruiting packet, because normally we're doing this, right after a nail bar, or especially if it's in person. But just give her a little chance to think about it. or we can go into a conversation right there and just say, well, let's talk about that. But if we're going to follow up, we don't have time to talk right then, or she doesn't, we can schedule time to talk later. But just say, let's talk tomorrow about this. So we set up a time, but that's all we say. We find out their hot button. I'm so excited. This is awesome. And we just move on from there without throwing up information on them. Once we know what their hot button is, that's what we're going to focus on. That's what we're going to focus on in the follow-up. Not everything that we love about Color Street, because that will overwhelm them again. Just focus on her why, her hot button. If she says, I've got a wedding coming up and I want to pay for my wedding. Okay, so when's the wedding? Da-da-da. How much do you think that you're going to need to cover the cost of that wedding? And then we just break that down for her as far as how many nail bars it would take each week to earn the money that she needs for that wedding. I want to pay for a vacation for my family. When do you want to go? How much do you think that vacation is going to cost? Where are you going to go? Get her focused on that vacation. How much do you think that's going to cost? Airfare, resort, all included. Well, $4,000. Okay, so how many nail bars is it going to take her each week to get that $4,000 by vacation date? And they just won't believe how easy that is. It's maybe 1 nail bar a week or 2 nail bars a week that which is 2.5 hours or 5 hours a week to pay for that completely. But whatever that benefit is, let's focus on that. I just need some girl time. Okay, talk about that. Tell me about that. What are you missing in girl time? Why aren't you getting any girl time now? How do you see this giving you that girl time that you want? What do you want from that? And then just tell her how she can get it with Color Street. But that's all we're going to talk about, is what they're interested in, not everything we love about Color Street. And once we've talked about that and shown her that Color Street can do that for her, close her. This is where so often I see my coaching clients and other people in team meetings or team trainings when we're talking about it after, what I hear is they just say, well, think about it and let's chat about this later. When we're in that conversation where we're talking about what Color Street can do for them, how it can be their answer to their need, close them. Don't give them time to think about it. Just say, okay, so when she says, that sounds great. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get you going. And when they say yes, that's when we say, if you're a leader, great, I've got some information to go over with you to help you get your business off to a fantastic start, which is the Let's Get Started call. So we're going to get them set up for great success, but close them. Don't give them more time to think about it. When they say that makes sense, or yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, I like that. Well, let's get you going, right? So close them. Don't wait. They're ready. All right, now let's talk about some objections. We're having a conversation with someone and they're interested, but that's an objection, or call it a concern, whatever you want to call it. But if we just say, oh, okay, I understand. I would be interested, but I just can't afford a kit right now. Oh, okay, maybe we can talk later. I would be interested, but I just don't feel like I could ever talk in front of people. Even if it's Facebook parties, I could never go live like you do. Oh, okay, I understand. Well, thanks for, listening. Thanks for talking to me. Or I don't have the right clothes, or whatever their concern is. It's usually time, talking in front of people, or money. Those are your top 3 objections when it comes to recruiting. So we want to make sure that we have the right language. And Debbie, Jackie, I will send you, if you don't already have it, I have a one-sheet PDF that has the 3 most common objections and the responses to those, so that you can just have them, right in front of you. It's great language that will help you overcome these 3 most common concerns. When we do try to overcome these concerns, what comes naturally to us is, well, it really doesn't take that much time. It's only 2.5 hours a nail bar. Or, it's only $129. I should know this. For the kit, it's only whatever the number is.
$129. You're right. $154 with tax and shipping usually.
Okay. Well, it's only $129 and you make that back at your first party. Or, you know, I could never stand up and talk in front of people. Oh, it's not that hard to get used to it. It can feel like we're arguing with them. All we're really trying to do is help them see that it's not, you know, that big of a deal, but it can feel like we're arguing with them. And then they start to resist us or kind of pull away. So that's not the approach that we want to take. We want to use something that's a really common technique in sales. If you've ever been in sales, you've probably heard this technique. It's the feel, felt, found technique. I know how you feel. I felt that way myself. But what I found was, and it's really effective. It's really effective because when you say, I know how you feel, that validates their concern. It says that's a legitimate concern. When you say, I felt that way myself, or some of my stylists have felt that way also, it means I can relate to that. And then we say, but what I found was we have an opportunity to give them a solution. So that's the technique that we want to follow. But it is an old technique. I've been in direct sales for 35 years. And I was taught this technique, you know, all at the beginning. So it's been around for a long time. If they've been in sales anywhere, they've been taught this technique. So if we just say, I know how you feel, I felt that way too, but you know what I found? Then they'll feel like they're being technique. They'll know they're being technique. So today we want to change that language up, knowing that it's a really great concept. It's an effective concept. It works. Not every time, of course, but it means that we're going to get more recruits if we get good at this. We just want to change the language up. So when they say, I can't afford a kit, instead of saying it's not that much money, we want to say something like, I can certainly understand that. It's hard to think about spending money when you need money, isn't it? And I don't know if this will help or not. So catch that language, please. I don't know if this will help. Don't say or not, because my son would say that's a double negative. And he always calls me out on that. I don't know if this will help, but then we go on. So I want to make sure that you caught that. So it's kind of hard to think about spending money when you need money, isn't it? And I don't know if this will help. But so many of my stylists felt exactly the same way. It was really hard to think about spending money. But then they realized that, you know, and I shared this with them, that it's $129 for the kit. And if you just hold one party a week in your first month of business, then you'll pay for that kit at the first in the first 2 nail bars, and you'll have, you know, plus, and you'll have another $300 in your first 30 days. If you hold 2 nail bars a week, which is 5 hours of party time, then you'll not only pay for that kit, but you'll have about $720 on top of that. Does that help? So do you see how we use that technique? I said, I understand. That makes, you know, it's hard to think about spending it. So it's just different language. The other number one objection is I could never stand up and talk in front of people. So when they say I couldn't go live, that's the same thing. You know, if we're doing Facebook parties, or I could never do a video like you did. It's just, that would make me so nervous. What they're saying is talking to people publicly makes them nervous. And that is the nation's biggest fear. That's one of our top 3 objections. So a good response to this, and again, I'll give you the PDF that has all of this there. So instead of saying, you know, you get comfortable pretty quickly. It's kind of scary at the beginning, but you get comfortable really quickly. That just feels like we're arguing. So instead, we want to say something like, well, I can certainly understand that. It's the nation's biggest fear. So you're in really good company. And I don't know if this will help, but you know, you can just sit down at your nail bars if you're afraid to stand. If it makes you uncomfortable, just stand up. Or I can help you create, I don't know if this will help, but I can help you to create those videos. And sometimes we already have them done by someone else and you can just share those. But you can do those in the comfort of your home. Or I can, it's nation's biggest fear, and I don't know if this will help, but I'm trying to think about it, but Zoom. But it's just, you know, it's like we're just sitting around in a room of people. So just, you know, sit down, make yourself comfortable, and just talk with them. And what you'll find is that after doing this once or twice, it just feels normal. Or I was really nervous the first few times I did it. And then I realized that they weren't paying that much attention to me. They were just glad that they were there with their friends and having a great time. And it just got real comfortable real fast. So again, the language will be there. What was the other one I said? Money, stand up, and time. So instead of saying it only takes a little bit of time, which feels like, well, all right, we want to say, well, I can certainly understand that. We are the busiest women in the history of the world. Did you know that? And it sounds like you're busier than most. So what I'm doing right here is giving her a pat on the back. It sounds like you're busier than most, because every woman thinks that they are busier than every other woman. They all feel that way. So we want to validate that. And it sounds like you're busier than most. So I don't know if this will help, but what some of my stylists have done to make this work in their life but not take a lot of time is they choose to do 2 nail bars on 2 Saturdays a month. So they're really only working 2 days a month, but they're making an extra $600 in a month. Or some of them will do a party on Wednesday and a party on Saturday. So they're only working a little bit of time each week, but they're adding about $600 or $800 a month to their household budget. How does that feel? So what we're doing is we're validating, we're relating, but we're giving them a solution in a really positive way that feels good for them. It makes it easier for them to say, oh, I never thought about it like that. But when we just go right to solution mode, which is our natural instinct, it makes it even more difficult to get that yes, because it does feel like we're arguing with them. So here's our 3 most common objections, sorry. What we also want to do is listen for tone. When we are offering a solution for them and talking to them, we want to make sure that we're picking up on any tones of concern, fear, frustration, or even I don't know if anger is the right word, but if they, if all of a sudden they cross their arms and go, no, I'm just not going to do it. There was something there that made them feel a little bit affronted, and that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that we're listening for that. If we offer a solution and there's still like, oh, I don't know, then we know that there's still some fear there. Well, is there something else that's making you nervous, or did that idea just not feel like it was going to work for you? We want to just listen to tone and make sure that we are picking up on any of those kinds of vibes. Well, we've covered a lot of information here, and I just want to move this up here so I can't see what I'm doing here. I can't see my screen. All right, there we go. So we've covered a lot of content tonight with a lot of verbiage, a lot of how-tos and what-tos. And if you're feeling like, oh, that's a lot to remember, or this feels overwhelming, or it still feels scary, just remember that practice makes better. I raised my kids on that mantra. Not practice makes perfect. I'm still learning about this business every single day from my coaching clients and groups like this where you talk to me about your concerns or you tell me some things that are going on. I'm learning about how to be a better trainer and speaker and coach every day. And I work on getting better every day. My grandson was talking about, I was complimenting him on a video that his mom posted on Facebook with him dribbling behind his back and between his legs. And he's 9 years old, and he's fabulous. He's really good. So I was complimenting him, and he said, yeah, my dad says I need, I need to get better at this. And I said, we're Seattleites, so we are Seahawk fans. And I said, you know what, Jackson, Russell Wilson practices football every day of the week, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So the more you practice, the better you're going to get. We're never going to get perfect. We always have room to get better, but just practice. You're going to get better and better. He said, yeah, that's right. So practice makes better. The more we practice this, the better we're going to get. If you freeze and say, have you ever thought about doing something like this? It's okay. We're going to get, the next time, we're going to remember a little bit more. And the next time, we're going to remember a little bit more of that verbiage. We're going to get better at overcoming those objections and following up. So just practice makes better. Don't worry about if I said something wrong and I lost that recruit. If you don't ask them, you're going to lose them anyway. So just talk to people, follow up, overcome those concerns. And the more you do that, the better you're going to get. You're going to be an ace recruiter. Remember that the expert at anything was a beginner first. Jackie McGowan, Dina Doyle, Debbie Bride were all brand new stylists at some point where they had their starter kit and they didn't, know what they were doing, but they did bookings and they got better and they started to recruit and they got better. Now look at these women today. They're just rock stars. But at the beginning, they didn't know what they were doing either. I didn't know what I was doing, but we just practice and we get better. The expert at anything was a beginner, just like you. And my favorite is competence precedes confidence. Well, I'm just not good at that. Nobody is, until they do it enough to get better, then to get good, then to get great. We don't just start out of the gate great. We don't start out of the gate feeling really confident at what we're doing. Confidence is not something that we can decide to be. I'm just going to be more confident. We don't get to decide that. It's an emotion, and we feel it or we don't feel it. So the more experience we get, the better we get, the more confident we feel. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me unshare my screen and answer any questions that you guys might have, or I'd love any comments or questions or anything you've got for me.
Can I start?
Absolutely.
All right, so first I want to say thank you. This was so good to hear. Even though I've heard it, I needed to hear this over and over again. I loved hearing the 10-8-2. I loved hearing that I need to schedule 30 minutes after each party the next day within that 24-hour period to increase our chances of getting a yes. I loved it all, Shari. My one question that I think maybe more people might have is that when we're holding an online party and I see someone who is very engaging, so she's participating in the posts, she's commenting on the nail polish packs, how would I turn her really great engagement into, I think you'd make a great stylist? I think I know the answer, but I would love to hear from you.
I love that question. Thank you for bringing it up, because I didn't even think about covering that particular quality. But I have had people at my parties that you just it was easier to see out of face to face, because they were asking questions when in the question and answer game. They were, oh, I love that one. Tell me more about that. I mean, you could just hear it more. But certainly with Facebook parties or Zoom parties, we do have those people that are right up until the day we start that party. They're just like checking in and, oh, I love this, and they're just commenting. So I would say to that person at my party, Jackie, I just want to say thank you so much. Not everybody pays great attention to me when I'm doing the presentation, but man, you were so engaged. I had your eye contact the whole time. You were asking questions, and it just makes what I do so much more fun and easy. It's also what would make you a great stylist. You listen, you pay attention. People love that when they feel like they're being heard and paid attention to. You'd be amazing. What do you think about doing this for a few weeks and see if you like it?
I love it. Thank you.
I was off the cuff. I hope it was okay.
You're always great. So I won't talk. I want to let other people ask questions. Thank you, Shari.
Shari, I have one along the same line. So again, it's real easy to in-home to be able to offer compliments because you're carrying on conversations as you're sampling and stuff. So what do you recommend people look for to work it into the conversation? I know Jackie gave the one example of someone engaged in posts. What other type of things do you recommend people look for? Because people are still doing mostly online parties. So we're not having one-on-one conversations. So how do we, in general, ask people, what are we looking for?
So a lot of product is a good prospect. We know that they love the product. So a good starting point can always be, Debbie, you love the product, obviously. So you're passionate about this. That would make you your passion would make you a great stylist. What do you think about doing this? So again, that's an example of where I don't know what her why is. I don't know how Color Street could benefit her. It's just somebody that purchased a lot of product from me. So that's always a good prospect. But I think in the question and answer game, when we're sharing our why story and we play a question and answer game afterwards, who's asking questions? What kind of questions are they asking? Are they just questions to get into a drawing, or are they questions that show genuine interest? So from those questions, we can often get some insight into what would be their hot button, what would be their concerns. If a question is, how much time does it take? We kind of already know what one of their concerns is, right? Or, how much do you make? So she's interested in money. Or where else have you guys gone on vacations? Or, just things like that. In the question and answer game, we can get some insight into what their hot button with Color Street might be for the why you should part.
And how would what are we doing this through a comment in the post, do you think? Or, because one of the problems would be if you message them and you're not friends on Facebook, it goes to a weird messenger place. So would you have suggestions of how we should reach out to them?
How we should reach out? Oh, okay.
How are we commenting those things right in the Facebook group? Where would you tell them to go?
Deb, I think what Shari meant was those would be the 4 questions that we would talk about in our live. So you say like you do my why and my demo and my why, and now that's my story. Now here's the part where I get to give out 2 free tickets for every question you ask.
Right, but you're looking for their hot buttons and then you're getting back to them. So where are you getting back to them? Through what avenue? Do you know, like the person who asked about money, you want to bring up money, if they're asking how much the kid is or something, or do you travel? They might be interested in travel. So where am I at? Where do we carry this conversation on? Through Facebook?
You collect their emails when you get their order.
Okay.
I just jump into Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't, if you're not friends, they don't just pop into your messages. So,
right.
Right.
So sometimes I'll go back to like their profile page if we're not Facebook friends, and I'll make a comment on their profile page, and then I'll say, hey, hope you don't mind, I sent you a private message, to get them to jump into Messenger. But you really do have to put 30 minutes in your calendar the next day after that party to be able to have the time to do that.
Yeah. So that's a really great idea, Jackie. And an email is just another great way to communicate with people. We still read our emails pretty regularly, so it's that's either one of those I think would be good.
Or the good old phone call, right?
There's always that.
Seriously, I've done that where I'll have my party, I'll manage party, click on the girl's party order, grab my phone, and I text her, hi, this is Jackie from Stephanie's party. Just wanted to thank you for your order. Please don't hesitate to reach out, and then see if she writes back. And then if she writes back, then I start a communication back and forth.
I have seen, especially from Jackie and Debbie, I've seen a real trend on, instead of typing in your message, so many people today are voice messaging in text and in Messenger. And I love what you're saying, Jackie, about a good old-fashioned phone call, because whether it's a phone call and a voicemail or a voice message or a voice text, they get to hear your excitement about them in that message. We can use emojis, till the cows come home, but it's not quite the same as them hearing your voice saying, oh my gosh, Jackie, I can't get you off my mind, you are so fun, or whatever that is. They hear that passion and belief in them, which I think could be more effective. So thank you for saying that. I like that. Well,
it works. If they actually catch me by surprise when they answer, I almost go like, oh crap, I'm usually ready for to leave an answer or a message. But it's really rewarding. I do love that. And I personally have to get better at my follow-up. Putting that time in my calendar and identifying 3 people from the party, of course, starting with the hostess weeks before.
Well, we did a training, didn't we, a little bit ago about the fortune is in the follow-up.
Yes.
So I have a question kind of along that about getting better about following up. I get in my own way when I don't immediately follow up, and then I like perfection paralysis and I don't reach out. So I know the answer is just do it. But when we let more than 24 hours go by, or we're trying to catch back up with follow up, maybe it's more of like what we should say to ourselves, but like how would you, if you slack on follow up, get over that?
Well, first put it in your schedule for the day after.
Right.
And discipline, right? Discipline. But Meredith, it's just like, if you don't use exactly the right language, it's okay. You know, all you say is, have you ever thought about doing something like this? It's not perfect. It's not the best language. There's a lot of other language we could use that would be better, but at least you did it and you're going to get results. Whether it's as good or not is a different story. So if you don't get to them in 24 hours, don't let it go. Still follow up with them.
Bad follow up is better than no follow up.
That perfection syndrome is, that's a stopper. I tell my clients that all the time. You don't have to do it all. You got somebody else can do it good enough. You don't have to do. So there's perfection mentality that can affect all kinds of things in our business, not just recruiting. So it's not perfect. It's good enough.
And I guess also the idea I remember, and I even told my friend who was worried the guy she was dating was going to ghost her, but that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. So just put it out there, and whatever is meant to be will be.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you keep following up.
Yeah. I think we just have to realize that no is not, no, I don't like you, or no, I can't believe you asked me that. It's, no, it's just not for me, but I love Color Street, and I'll still order from you. I'll still book with you. It's just, this is not the right opportunity for everyone. Just like we go through McDonald's and he says, do you want fries? And we say no. He doesn't go back into the break room and burst into tears. It's like, she just didn't want fries, but she still got a hamburger and Diet Coke. So I just didn't want that. So I still love, the restaurant. No, I don't love McDonald's, but you get the gist of it. So if they say no to you, they're just saying, this isn't the part of Color Street that I want. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not the right opportunity for everybody, but we share it, and we're going to get people that their lives are changed because of it. And they're going to love you forever. Jackie?
There was a question I'm not understanding in the comments. What about when someone asks about the business off a post and you are just Facebook friends, no real relationship? I'm not sure what they mean by that. Meaning
about the business, but they don't know one another. I'll just say I would just answer the question short. Like, keep it short. Don't start vomiting Color Street all over them. Just ask the question and keep it short. But go ahead, Shari.
You mean like ask them what is it that they're interested in?
It sounds like somebody was asking, what do you do if someone asks a question about the business off of a party post and you're just Facebook friends and you don't have a real relationship with them? So maybe you're not able to identify their strengths or what their needs might be. So I would say just ask, if she asked a question about the business, just answer the question briefly and try not to answer 10 more. Like, try not to prejudge what she's going to ask and start. I've turned people away by doing that. But I will say, if I may, that Shari's a genius and so good at this, and her method of being human and recognizing what it is that you see in a person. And when you say that first, and then you offer her the business opportunity, it works, because I see at least 5 girls on here that I've enrolled by finding what their strengths are in parties, and they were scared, but I nurtured them, and I've got some rock stars on this call right now. I'm excited to see you guys here, and it's truly because we have been training with Shari. She's been teaching us how to do this, how to follow up, how to identify the customer positive things in each person, and how Color Street can solve her problem.
I see a question that says, I've had some instances where I really sell the opportunity in the nail bar and then they join the next day with someone else. Any tips? It's so frustrating. So that could be for so many different reasons. It could be that they had somebody that was already talking to them and they just happened to be invited to your nail bar and you talked about it, but they already knew somebody or somebody that they know sells Color Street. So you might have been the one that initiated that interest in the first place, but they have a friend that sells. Of course, they're going to sign up with that friend. And so one of the things that can help you with, they don't know, first of all, they may not even know anybody else, but they just meet somebody the next day, right? But they don't always understand this business in that you get paid when they join. You get paid on that when they join. So when you're in your Facebook party or whatever kind of party you're doing and you are wrapping up your Q&A, you could just say, I would love to work with any of you and help you be successful. I'd love to have you on my team. I mean, you can put something like that in there that just encourages them to sign up with you. But the bottom line is, we don't own customers, we don't own hostesses, we don't own recruits. So if they choose to buy from someone else on occasion or book with somebody else or join somebody else, they get to choose who they work with and who they book with and who they buy from. So we just kind of have to not take that, personally. But I understand the frustration when they sign up with someone else and you're working with them, but it's just something that happens. If it happens frequently, then if it was me, I'd say, okay, what is it about me that people don't want to sign up with me? Maybe there's something that I'm doing that's kind of pushing people away. But if it's just the occasional time that's happened to me, sure, it's happened to some others of you, it's just, shake it off, keep talking to people.
That's happened to me, and I just look at myself and say, I have to book more nail bars. It's a numbers game. It's a relationship game. I mean, it really has happened. I can talk about Dina and Haley. I knew Haley when she was a baby teacher, and I mentored her as a teacher. And then I left the profession, and Haley was one of my first hostesses. And I knew she was going to be awesome, but then she was co-teaching with Dina, and I just knew it would be a really great relationship. It was just natural for her to enroll with Dina and not me. So it happens to all of us, and I think that helps build a really strong team anyways. If they're not really wanting to sign up with me, then I feel like it's okay. I just got to work on my next party and my next set of people.
All right, we've kept you over here, Shari.
That's okay.
We so appreciate. Everything was so amazing. Great information, and I know everyone is ready to go practice these skills this week.
All right, excellent.
So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Anything you want to add, Jackie, before we hang out?
No, thank you guys. It was awesome information. I took pages of notes again.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Love working with you guys.
All right, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.